So the demon here, who's causing all this shit, is named Aruhamel.
Okay.
Which is one of the weirdest bastardizations I've ever seen. It's supposed to be Alzheimer's. I mean, I can see it, but you really kind of have to know it to recognize it.
I feel that's more... A portmanteau is when you smash two words together, right?
Yes.
I feel like that is a portmanteau. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, just immediately.
Yeah. So a neat little gimmick for this dungeon.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so... Oh, that's... I love it.
Yes.
I love it.
Road slug.
Anyway, because the last part of it, the Amel part, sounds like a naming convention for a demon.
Yeah, that's true.
Because there's a lot of stuff that when you throw it through the katakana symbol, just mangles it like you just tossed into a fucking wood chipper.
Yes.
Like, yeah, sure, crap like Paris, petty soup, pretty close. But like the Japanese word for the English language is ego.
Yeah.
Where everyone else, it's the name of the country and go. Or McDonald's gets mangled into Makuru Donodo. Or my favorite, Schwarzenegger.
Oh no.
Schwarzenegger is Schwarzenegger. Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. That's pretty glorious. And so that would explain the Aru part.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of stuff that Japanese language doesn't have that English does and Latin does. But the Japanese still has T's.
Yeah.
So if it was a straight katakana Alzheimer's...
Well, there is no T in Alzheimer's.
Oh, Alzheimer's.
Yeah. It's spelled with Alzheimers. Yeah. A lot of people call it Alzheimer's or old timers, but it's not timers at all.
Yeah. Still, they go for sounds. So what'd you say the demon's name is again?
Aruhamel.
Aruhamel. I'm going to look up how Alzheimer's is spelled.
Okay.
I'm going to start putting it into
And you're
Google.
going to insist on calling it Alzheimer's. I'm sure it's a habit.
Okay, how do you actually start to spell this word?
ALZH. There you go.
Alzheimer.
Yep. Alzheimer's disease.
All right. I'm going to side by side this. What'd you say the demon's name was again?
Aruhamel. Aruhamel. Yes.
Actually. No, the Mel part... What we could be getting here is a reverberation effect.
Okay.
Where it's put in Japanese and katakanas. And then the katakana is then retranslated back into English.
One of those situations where it's like, I've run this through Google Translate 15 times, and this is what I got.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the Japanese language doesn't... Okay, two things. Japanese language does not have an L. That's where the famous fa-ra-ra stuff comes from.
Yeah.
Or my favorite, having a machine in your hotel lobby labeled flesh juice. And the other thing is, the Japanese language will only end on a consonant if that consonant is the letter N. All other consonants will have a vowel following up behind them.
Okay.
It's just how the language is.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, every letter or whatever, every sound in there has some sort of... Oh, except N.
So the Japanese language is very phonetic based. Everything has exactly one reading, and if you're changing the pronunciation of that reading, you're modifying the symbol to reflect that.
Right.
Unlike in the English language, where it's like, here's a letter E. You kind of just have to know how that's going to be pronounced. Look at the greater part of the word. Like, here are some clues as to how the fuck you're supposed to pronounce this E.
They don't always count, but sometimes, most of the time you can count on it.
Yeah. Like, knowing what language we stole this from. Fuck, they turned on the fan. Hang on a second. Yeah, so excuse me.
Phonetics.
Phonetics. So in English, a lot of it has to do with where the word came from, what language we took it from. Because English is like 15 different languages haphazardly smashed into one.
Yeah.
Japanese, you don't have that problem.
Right. It's similar to Spanish in that it's very uniform in its sounds.
Yes, the downside is it also makes the language very rigid.
Yes.
So anything coming from a phonetic system that doesn't match theirs gets mangled. And since this was translated in the 90s,
Yep.
and it was kind of like, fuck it, just eyeball it. You could take the katakana and try to retranslate it back. And you would get, like in the early 2000s, a ton of arguments between fan translators as to how the fuck certain characters were supposed to be named. Like, Zolo from One Piece. There was a huge debate for the longest time, is it Zoro or Zolo?
Right.
Because in katakana, it's written as Zoro. But at the same time, if the creator's intent was to name him Zolo, he would still use the Ro symbol, simply because they use the R symbol when they mean L's, and they don't really have anything to note that.
They're kind of the same sound, really.
In a lot of ways.
It's like a the sort of thing.
The native Japanese language doesn't like to have the tongue touch the teeth.
Right.
That's not a motion that they really make in their mouth very often. Just making sure to go. So with Alzheimer's and Aruhamel, the AL, the best they would get is Aru, which is just how they do that.
Right.
The Alzheimer's, the Z isn't super pronounced, so they wouldn't use any of the Z sounds in Japanese. So they would jump straight to the H part. HE in Japanese is he. HEI is he, but that's not how it's pronounced in English.
Right.
So they would go with their closest ha. And then MER, so there would be Meru.
Yeah.
So no, Aruhamel is Alzheimer's run through katakana and then haphazardly run back.
Yep. There we go. We figured it out.
Yeah, piecing it together. Like, no. Alzheimer's in Japanese would be Aruhameru. Which is not even fucking close. Now, granted, that's a direct written one-to-one. A lot of times when they'll do it phonetically.
Right.
So when you spell it out, it doesn't look the same spelled, but spoken.
Yeah.
And some it's easier than others. Like, I know in Japanese, my real name would be Kuristafa, which is close enough. My grandmother has it easy. Barbara translates one-to-one.
Yeah.
Babada.
Ooh, we got a hero belt. Or a hero whatever BT is. Don't you want a hero BT? Yeah, it must be a belt. It's a charm. Or an accessory.
Yeah, probably a belt.
Oh, yep. Raises offense, I guess.
Oh, it's one of those power belts.
Must be, yeah. Sweet deal.
Yeah, Rand always needs more power.
Oh, yeah.
The power.
Actually, Rand doesn't always need more power, and I think that's why I gave it to Kat. Because, like, her primary and pretty much only thing she can do is attack with her stick. Rand has spells, and I gave him Chop Chop in this, which is why he's doing 60-some damage to those enemies that people are that are attacking and doing 1 and 2 against.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chop Chop is the defense ignoring thing. Quite useful.
I would imagine. Because I've said it before and I'll say it again. In these kind of RPGs, like, you want one attack that gets through defense.
Yes, because some enemies are built to take lots of damage. I mean, take no damage and have few hit points, but still take many turns to beat.
I feel like that is what RPGs like this should be, where you build a team of specialists.
Yeah, that's largely what this is, which is one reason that Spar is so fucking worthless in this game. Because he doesn't specialize in anything, and he's bad at all of it. And then you have Blue, who's good at everything. So,
yeah.
I mean, yeah.
But she's a hidden character.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's acceptable.
Hidden characters can break a ton of normal character development rules.
Mm-hmm.
Unless your name's Yuffie, in which case no one gives a shit.
Yeah.
People like you for waifu reasons.
Yep, pretty much.
Not for gameplay reasons.
I tried using her. She wasn't good. I tried using Vincent. He wasn't good. Like, Yuffie and Vincent have exploits that can make them really good, but if you're just playing casually, you don't know that.
Yeah.
Like, I think Yuffie's Conformer is really good to, I think that's actually a defense ignoring thing. And so you can use Morph with it, and that's an easy way to get sources, which are those things that increase your stats permanently.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you can just keep morphing enemies with Yuffie's Conformer, and it's a good way to farm that shit. Whereas Vincent, I think, has something with his ultimate weapon where he can overflow the damage and kill anything in one hit. Anything. Emerald weapon, ruby weapon, Safer Sephiroth, whatever.
Goddamn.
Everything. Yeah, so that was... FF7 is actually a very busted game.
All the RPGs from back in the day were busted.
Yeah, and I think 7 was one of the most busted out of all of them because it was a new platform and they tried to do some very ambitious things with it. And so they just kind of cobbled it together and it's like, okay, it's not falling apart, let's not touch it.
I'm always of the opinion that, like, I want to say midway through the PS3 lifecycle when patching games post-release became standard practice.
Yeah.
Everything was busted by today's standards.
By today's standards, yeah, but a lot of games were also pretty solid.
Yeah.
Like Mario RPG, I don't think there are any major exploits. The big speedrun tech for Mario RPG is simply learning how to do super jump 100 times or more. And if you do that, you, 1, get the best item in the game, and 2, do over 1,000 damage because you jumped 100 times, which takes like minutes in a battle. So yeah, like Super Mario RPG is actually fairly well put together. But then you got like Final Fantasy VI, which Vanish and X Zone, if anybody knows what that is.
We discussed it in an earlier episode.
Yeah. Yep. And I think FF5 is a little less busted than 6 because it's a little less ambitious, but it also, like, it has some jobs that are clearly better than others. It also has combinations that you can put together to exploit various things. It's not, like, going to destroy everything, but yeah, 5 is pretty nasty. Yep. But yeah, there are a number of really well put together games from older eras. It's just now you can patch shit when people find it. And so instead of doing a lot of in-house testing, well, you just do, you kind of open, you crowdsource your testing.
I think the standard these days is you in-house make sure everything meets compliance.
Yeah, meets compliance and doesn't brick systems.
Yeah.
Except if you're Mighty Number 9.
Yeah. But Mighty Number 9 was a dumpster fire on every front.
Yes.
So that's just another thing to throw into the pile of problems. Mm-hmm. But no, it's make sure it doesn't, you can play the game.
Yep. Make
sure you can get from start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
And make sure that whatever system you're running it on doesn't explode from you playing it.
Yeah. I don't know if it's still in there, but Undertale has an exploit using the voucher or something like that. It's something you get from one of those stores. I guess it's a punch card. Do you remember the punch card?
Vaguely.
Okay, well, yeah, so like it's ice cream or something like that. I can't remember, whatever. But anyway, I don't remember exactly how it works, but the punch card kind of allows you to skip areas. Like you can, do you know the screen scrolling technique in Zelda 1?
Vaguely.
Okay, in Zelda 1, if you if you start to scroll a screen and then you turn around at just the right timing, you can actually go to the next screen and be on the other side of it. So you can really break sequence like heavily that way. It's similar to that in that it moves you to the next screen even if there's a barrier normally. And so you can sequence break like a motherfucker in Undertale.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what you get when you get one or two people on a team, as opposed to a whole AAA studio going on.
Yeah. But even then, that's not breaking compliance, and stuff like that is benign enough.
Yeah, and it's just something that they missed. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
It's not going to break your game, and it's not going to break your computer.
Yeah, and that's the important part.
Yep.
Like, if you want to give speedrunners tech, what the fuck ever.
Yeah, it's no big deal.
I mean, that's one of the reasons why speedrunners actually like the Sonic games, is because they're breakable in predictable ways.
Yeah, well, they're also there to be fast. Like, that's their core thing. But, yeah, if you're not a speedrunner, Sonic is probably not that great.
Like, the Sonic games can have fun levels that are fun to speedrun, even without breaking them, and then they're so broken to begin with that breaking them leads to interesting tech.
Yep, this is true. You just find what's fucked up.
Like, when I was 100%ing Sonic Forces, because I'm a goddamn masochist, I was looking at the techniques for getting under time limits on some of those levels.
Yep.
And there's a couple, like the one right after you get out of the negative zone, you can jump and do the speed dash in the air, like within the first 20 or 30 seconds of the level. Fly blindly off the side of the screen, land on a rail, and it's just the lead up to the towers where you jump up and see Eggman again.
Oh my god. Yeah, so you completely busted the time limit there.
Yeah, because that level is basically a giant horseshoe. And you're just jumping the short path.
Right.
You're like the racing game in JoJo Part 3.
Yeah. Oh my god.
It's like, developers didn't intend this, but fuck it, I can do it, so I am. And that's not even going into the Sonic Unleashed bullshit. Where you can glitch out the speed when you're flying and just rocket over most of the level.
Yeah. Yeah, you can go past your maximum speed, which is ridiculous. Sonic is just, God, it's always been bad.